So last time we saw how Savitri's father Ashwapati is answering Narad. His query was, what sudden God has met, what face supreme. Now this itself is a great event. Narad is already speaking of Savitri meeting a face supreme. Something great, something momentous, something very dramatic also is indicated here. And then in answer to that, Ashwapati gives a very poetic reply. The red Ashoka watched her going forth, which now sees her return. As I said last time, it indicates that there is a Ashoka tree at the entrance of the palace, and the chariot drove past it when she went on her quest. Now she is coming back, and the same red Ashoka is watching her coming back. Now here I have a few pictures of the flowering Ashoka. Very beautiful tree, you see. The yellowish golden flowers, red flowers, you see. Normally they bloom, these trees, from February to April. April. February maybe a little earlier, maybe from March to June, roughly. Actually, as I told you, they had one Ashoka tree at the entrance of the ashram on the left side. That tree died. Now they have put another sapling there, and it has grown. Ashoka, yeah. It's not flowering, but it's there. No, but they are not. They are not very tall. No, they are not. They are not Ashokas. They are not very tall trees. Exactly. I was going to say that thing. They look exactly like Exura. But Exura is a shrub-like thing. This is a plant. Yeah, they look exactly like red Exura. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I agree with you. The fact that in the Ramayana there is a mention of Ashoka tree in Lanka, Ceylon, it means that they are spread throughout the subcontinent. Mothers, I don't think she has given name for that. No, I don't think so. And well, Ashoka means grief place, sorrow is. Ashoka means sorrow. Means no sorrow. Free of sorrow. Yeah. Pardon me? Dukkha. Adukha. Yeah, it is opposite of that. There is no dukkha. Yeah. Yeah, sukha. Well, it's not. It is it's in negative sense. It means without sorrow. Sukha is more positive than adukha. So this is the description of Ashoka. Actually, there are two places in Savitri where the mention of Ashoka appears. One is here, and the other one is 93.31. Yeah, he says, Ashokas burned in crimson sparks of flame, pure like breath of an unstained desire. That is in the spring. See, they describe the spring, and the flowering time is normally between say mid-February till mid-May also sometimes. As I told you, this tree has the conventional meaning. The etymological meaning is grief place. Shoka. Means no. Shoka means grief. That is what shoka means basically. You see. But this is a tree which is present in many descriptions of Indian literature, ancient Indian literature, Ramayana, in Meghadoot, Kalidas, and then it is said that uh, Buddha was born under the Ashoka tree in the garden. And it's a very kind of a common theme in the temples. You have the description of heavenly damsels holding the branch of Ashoka tree with their hand up like that. Sculpted statues are there like that, you see. So this is a very common kind of a theme there. And as I told last time, the Kalidasian description is very romantic, and he says that the trees are flowering when the maiden sprinkles wine from her mouth on the tree, you see. Very romantic also, you see. And so in that sense, I think that association of love of the maiden blossoming like that is very pertinent here. Why Shivandu of all the flowers says Ashoka to while describing Savitri, because it is the context of the love she has discovered, and she is now flowering up beautifully like that, you see. A face supreme, another face supreme. And then he is asking her, well, by the way, arisen into an air of flaming dawn like a bright bird tired of her lonely branch. So Savitri is now being described like a bird. Until now she was driving the chariot, but now she is flying on wings, cleaving her way with the beat of her rapid wings. She is coming hastily back to the palace, rapid wing, led by a distant call, her vague, swift flight. You see, bird, rapid wing, flight, these are all descriptions of the bird now here, you see. And he says, well, this is what I know. She had gone there, she has come back now. What has happened in between, he would not know. But of course, Narad already knows. And the fact that she has come back, she is happy, she is joyous, she is jubilant also. It means that she has found her life's partner. Therefore, the happy rest her burdened lashes keep. Her eyes are telling me that yes, yes, it has happened. But what has that happened? How the events actually took place, that she is keeping back from her. Super. And then he says, and these charmed guardian lips hold treasured still. Then he addresses a virgin who comest perfected by joy, reveal the name thy sudden heartbeats learned. Now, Ashwapati is calling her a virgin. She is married in a way to Satyavan already, but it does not mean that a conjugal union has taken place. Their meeting was hardly a meeting for 3-4 hours, as we had earlier. So they met, they had agreed, yes, we shall be together. So although in that sense they have betrothed to each other, she is definitely a virgin. See. So the aptness of words, you see, is very important that way. Why he is calling it virgin who cometh perfected by joy. Perfected joy, obviously, the virgin will be perfected by joy when she discovers her lover, when she finds her life's partner. Whom hast thou chosen, kingliest among men? Now, the expectation of the father is that Savitri has found a prince as a life partner, kingliest, and not a youth who is exiled to the forest, living in the hermitages and things like that. That is the expectation of the father, you see. Somebody so to say, of his equal status. See that way. Kingliest among men. That is the immediate meaning. Kingless also means, obviously, in the metaphorical sense, whomsoever you have chosen as your life partner, he is the king, he is the lord of your life. He is the lord of your life, you see. So his questions are very short, brief, quick, and then whom hast thou chosen, kingless among men? Now, in the narrative as we have here, we don't know whether Ashwapati was getting kind of reports from time to time where she is, in what part of the country she is now. Because definitely when she is going as a person in search of somebody, as a princess, there will be following her a royal envoy will be there. There will be an army, there will be a convoy also guarding her while she is moving from place to place. So naturally through them he must be getting from time to time the reports. He says, now we are here, now we are here, now we are here. That is not disclosed here in the epic as we have here at all. See. Therefore he is asking whom, but Narad of course knows already. He has seen everything from above, what has happened that morning. And Savitri answered with a still, calm voice, as one who speaks beneath the eyes of fate. Beneath the eyes of fate. Now, this is something about which the poet has not prepared us to accept in the entire descriptions which were there earlier. Why she is speaking under the eyes of fate? She is a happy person, jubilant, she had discovered her life's partner, and the whole thing should be a glorious unfoldment from this point onward. There is no question of eyes of fate watching on her at all, you see.
But she would have heard Narad's clothing, which was already quite
yeah,
warning.
yeah,
So
yeah,
that would make sense.
exactly, yeah, that's right, yeah. But now whether she was perceptive to that, we don't know. Possibly, yeah, possibly. Narad had made a very kind of a dubious close, and therefore she must have sensed something also, possibly, already, possibly. But speaks beneath the eyes of fate. See, this is more a general statement, not the contextual vis-a-vis Narad's description. As if one who speaks beneath the eyes of fate, whether she is here or there, she is as if constantly speaking. This is a little puzzling statement for me also. You see why she has not sensed anything of fate at all, and why she should be. So this is something we can say a kind of a commentary of the poet on the entire development of what was happening all along, you see. And then he says, and Savitri answered with a still, calm voice. Obviously, this is understood, still, calm voice. Although she is happy, she is jubilant, she is emotional and all that thing, yet she is calm. She is calm. Because she is speaking under the eyes of fate. She is speaking under the eyes of fate. So she still keeps calm, you see. And then she answers, Father and King, I have carried out thy will. Now, this is something, again, important. First, of course, we have here father, and she is addressing to her father, father and king. I mean, normally she will simply say father, my father. Why should say king? For his daughter, he is his father, that's all. He is not a king for her, see, for her. Now, I think father, of course, that endearment is there, but king, because he had kind of commanded her, go and find out your life's partner. None has come. None has come. Therefore, she says, I carried out thy will. As a father, as a king, or whatever, you have commanded me to go and find out. I have carried out your will. And in the fulfillment of that will, now I am coming back. You see, I have carried out thy will. One whom I sought, I found in distant lands. I have obeyed my heart, I heard his call. Now, this is important. Obeyed my heart. Although you had commanded me to go and find out my life's partner. Yes, as a command, I carried out the will. I went from place to place. But ultimately, it is my heart to whom I am responding. I am responding to my heart. I obeyed my heart. I heard its call. It is not my father's call, my king's call. It is not his will, but it is the call of my heart which is important for her here. And even Ashwapati or somebody else may not agree with what she has decided, she is not going to change that. She has already indicated that this is well, this is done, as far as I am concerned. I have obeyed my heart and I heard its call. I am kind of responsible to it. And then she describes on the borders of a dreaming wilderness, mid Shalva's giant hills and brooding woods, in his thatched hermitage, Jumatsena dwells, blind, exiled, outcast, once a mighty king. In three adjectives, she had described the entire nature of Jumatsena: blind, exiled, outcast. So she says very clearly, yes, one day, at one time, he was a mighty king ruling the Shalva country, but he became blind. He became blind, and therefore we are here beneath the eyes of fate, getting connected with that. Beneath the eyes of fate. I heard my call beneath the eyes of fate. Yes, he was a king, he has become blind. Because he became blind, his enemy took advantage of his blindness. His son was too young, hardly a few years old boy, and he cannot do anything at all. So his enemy took advantage of that thing and defeated in a battle, and he was exiled. He became outcast. Once a mighty king, the son of Jumatsena, Satyavan, I have met on the wild forest lonely world. That is all. I have met. I have chosen. My heart's call is there. I have met. The marriage is a heavenly marriage. What has taken place? She put in a garland. Means it is a token of her union with him, you see. I have met on the wild forest lonely world. My father, now you see here, she says now distinctly, my father, I have chosen. It's not king now, my father, you see. I have chosen. This is done. This is done. That's the most assertive statement that she can make. She has said very emphatically Maybe we had 1,000 arguments, maybe there are 1,000 hours and whatnot, whatnot, whatnot. I am not going to change my mind. This is done. My father I had chosen. It means that the chosen, she has already described, she heard the call of her heart. She says, I have obeyed my heart's call. There is something deep within which has come out, and I'm holding on to that. And there is no necessity for me now to change anything from what I have chosen. This is done. Astonished, all sat silent for a space, silent for a space, silent for a space. You see. Now, normally we say silent for a moment, silent for a while, silent for a space. As if they are looking for some free space for movement or whatever you see, silent for a space. Now, a very beautiful description. Astonished, obviously. Why astonished? Because she has chosen somebody who is living in the forest, who is not a prince really at the moment and all that thing, and therefore astonished. Not only that, but also she is asserting that this is done. The firmness with which she is saying that, it is that which makes them astonished. Firmness. Yes, Savitri has chosen that thing, firm. Silent for a space. Now, for a space is a very typical Victorian phrase. Silent for a space. In English poetry, it occurs at a few places. Silent for a space. I have got two examples here from Tennyson in the poem The Lady of Shalott. I'm just quoting two lines from that. Died the sound of royal cheer. Well, jubilation or whatever there. They died the sound of royal cheer, but Lancelot mused a little space. Means for a while, in that sense. She mused for a little while the jubilation, etc., had calmed down. She is still musing, thinking, contemplating for a little time. You see. Then in Keats' Hyperion, there is a phrase, none answered for a space. None answered for a space, you see. Means for a while, for a moment, you see. Hyperion, Keats' Hyperion of that. None answered for a space. There is a kind of finality in that. Absolutely final, finality. Her choice is absolutely final. She heard a call, she obeyed her heart. This is done. The mother says, Mother knew about her divinity at an early age, that she was somebody exceptional, somebody who had come down here. Even as a girl, very small girl, young girl, she knew her divinity. She was fully aware of it. The mother knew about her divinity at an early stage. Perhaps Sri Aurobindo did not know his divinity at that young age of mother. He came to know about the divinity much later. You see, there was a veil around him, and it remained there around him while he was in England all the while, 14 years. But the moment he stepped down from the ship on the land, Apollo Bandar, Bombay, suddenly that veil got removed. Suddenly, that was at the age of 21 or so. It is perhaps at that time then he realized something exceptional in him. Until then, the veil was there fully. See. Now, Savitri also knew about her divinity inwardly. And it is because of that perception of her that she is making this statement, this is done, this is done. In fact, we have seen the passages when Savitri and Satyavan are talking to each other, how, at what level they are exchanging their words, you see. In other words, in the case of Savitri, her full divinity, she recognized her full divinity the moment she met her lover. The moment she met her lover, she recognized her full divinity, and then she says, this is done. This is done. Astonished, all sat silent for a space. Then Ashwapati looked within and saw a heavy shadow float above the nave, chased by a sudden and stupendous light. He looked into his daughter's eyes and spoke, well hast thou done, and I approve that choice. Now, here we have a heavy shadow float above the name. The moment she uttered the word Satyavan, what Ashwapati sees is a thick dark cloud floating above the name. There's a heavy shadow above the name. Now, because Ashwapati is a yogi and he could immediately recognize behind what was happening, you see. The moment she said Satyavan, suddenly the whole picture stands clear in front of him. It is not because of Nara's ominous statement, but because of his yogic perception of things, he sees a heavy shadow float above the name. While the shadow is there above the name, he also notices stupendous light chasing that name. Yes, the shadow is there, but the shadow is also being chased immediately, suddenly, by stupendous light. So both the aspects are immediately described here. In fact, the entire story of Savitri from this point onward is kind of summarized in these two lines. A heavy shadow above the name and a sudden stupendous light chasing it. We are, of course, very wise people, and we immediately say that, oh, yes, the shadow, yes, that is death. And stupendous light, yes, that is Savitri's divine soul who is following her, the Supreme who is protecting her in all the circumstances. He looked into his daughter's eyes. Psychologically, this is important. He is straightway looking into her eyes. She is addressing to him, Father, I have chosen. This is done. And with that yogic vision, he is looking into the eyes of his daughter. In other words, he is transmitting through that look the power which he has into her soul. Into her soul. Daughter's eye and spoke, well hast thou done, and I approve thy choice. Now, well hast thou done in the context of the shadow being chased by stupendous light. You may not be knowing what is involved, but I see now that what you have chosen is wonderful, is beautiful. This is done, well hast thou done. And I approve the choice. This is a little difficult verb. Approve. I mean, Savitri says, I have chosen, it's done. So is the question of his approval or not approval?
Maybe it's the tradition that father has to give the final approval.
Yeah, but she doesn't care now whether you approve or not.
But still, he is doing his duty of giving.
Yeah, by way of duty, yes, but no, it is not in the sense of duty also. It is in the sense of the shadow being changed by stupendous light. It is that approve is a shadow changed by stupendous. Something extraordinary, something supernatural is involved in the whole thing. And therefore, I approve the choice in the context of the supernatural things. I mean, she wouldn't care whether you approve or not. She says, I have done, chosen, finished. Approve the choice. Now, well, I mean, that is the contextual way. The other way of looking at it is when Ashwapati had told to Savitri 98.53. Ashwapati is telling to Savitri, one force shall be your mover and your guide. He is telling her, look, you have to find out your own life's partner. You go, move all around the world and discover one. And in that context, he tells her, one force shall be your mover and your guide. One light shall be around you and within. Hand in strong hand, confront heaven's question, life. Confront heaven's question, life. Challenge the ordeal of the immense disguise. He has already told her. Ascend from nature to divinity's heights. Face the high gods, crowned with felicity. Then meet a greater God, thyself beyond time. Beyond. This is what Ashwapati is telling to his daughter. And it is in that context, he says, yes, what you have done is, well hast thou done. What you have done is wonderful. And this statement, heavy shadow float, is a kind of a corroboration of that. Heaven's question you have to answer. It is in that context, what you have done is something wonderful, it's something great. And therefore, I approve. I approve not as a father, but as one who has some kind of a spiritual capacity in him. It is that, with that, he says, I approve it. In other words, he is blessing her. He is immediately blessing her. What you have chosen? Yes, Tathastu. My Ashirvad is there, my blessings are there. Well hast thou chosen. That is the mantra which has sunk in her ears, and it is with that mantra she goes from place to place constantly, moving all around. He looked into his daughter's eyes and spoke, well hast thou done, and I approve that joy. In fact, in the context of what Savitri has said, this is done, he cannot but approve. When she says, this is done, I mean, even the human plane, he cannot but say approve. Yes, okay, go ahead. You see. Well hast thou done, and I approve the choice. If this is all, then all is surely well. If there is more, then all can still be well. Now, this is the assurance, this is the yogic certitude which very cautiously Ashwapati is giving by saying, if this is all, then all is surely well. Yes, this is all. It means that yes, this is all. And therefore, all is surely well. If there is more, then all can still be well. Now, so this is in the context of the shadow which he is seeing. He does not know what exactly the sequence of events will be, how things are going to happen. He simply says a thick shadow floating over the name of Satyavan and the shadow being chased by light, stupendous light. If this is all, well, it means that is a good thing. Go ahead, did what he will say straightway. Then all can still be well. Now, this has to some extent the context of the cautious statement of Narad. Savitri is living in a world of dream and she is safe in the world of dream, but she has not met the god of pain yet. She has to meet the god of pain also. You see. Whether it seem good or evil to men's eyes, only for good the secret will can well. Only for good the secret will can work. Now, well, this is a good way, so to say, of consoling oneself. Although you may not agree with the thing, it's a good way of saying perhaps everything will happen. Mother will take care of everything. You see, that's a good way of consoling oneself, basically. It also means that you have to prepare for that will to work. The secret will can work. If the secret will can work, secret will has to work. In other words, you have to be ready to accept the secret will. You must be prepared to accept the secret will. Then only all will be good. Now, whether it seem good or evil to men's eyes. Now, why is he talking about men's eyes? Now he is talking about supernatural event, a heavy shadow, stupendous light, and fate, and all that kind of a thing. Who cares about what men's eyes see? Why worry at all about that? Now, this is whether it seems good or evil to men's eyes, because what will man understand from this whole episode which we got so far? He will simply understand that, look, she is a princess, very beautiful, very handsome, very wise, and all that kind of a thing. And look what she has done. She has chosen a boy who is living in jungles, in forests. So, in the eyes of men, this is the contrast. She is a person who is living in a palace and she has chosen somebody who is not really worth, who is not equal to her at all. So, that is good or evil for man. In the common understanding of our human nature, it looks ridiculous. How can that be? You see. So he says, whether it seems good or evil to men's eyes, only for the secret will can work. Our destiny is written in double terms. Through nature's contraries, we draw near God. Out of the darkness, we will grow to light. Now, this is something with the touch of the Greek philosophy. Destiny, nature, darkness, light, all the touch is fate, how it works. It is a touch of Greek philosophy. The Indian psychology would not easily accept that. He says it is written in double terms. Outwardly, it may look to us something not very happy, something incompatible. This princess marrying an exiled boy. That is one aspect of destiny, so to say. But there is another will which is behind that thing, the double will which is there, which is working for a different cause, for a different purpose, has a different objective altogether, which the human conception is not capable of recognizing or understanding. Through nature's contraries, we draw near God. Out of the darkness, we still grow to light. Death is our road to immortality. This is a little too early for Ashwapati to say. Yeah.
Sorry, could you explain once more why Indian philosophy, or what is it that Indian philosophy would not easily accept?
For any?
What you said, this is too difficult for Indian philosophy to accept.
Yeah, Indian philosophy doesn't accept the double game. It goes only by one aspect. It is more of Greek mythology, where the action of man and the action of gods are interwoven. Are interwoven. Actually, as we shall see, the Greek gods are also bound by the power of fate. They are not exempt from fate. Ananke is more powerful than the will or action of gods. It is she who decides everything, necessity. But here, when it comes to cosmic working, there is always a double play of the individual and the cosmic. The individual deciding something in one way, and the cosmic forces are operating for their own cause, for their own objective, for their own aim, simultaneously. So, in that sense, they get interwoven, and therefore, it is written in double terms. To us, on the human level, it may appear that this is something not a very happy choice made by Savitri. If you see the outward facts as they are, it's not a very happy choice. She is a princess and she has chosen somebody who lives in the forest. See, that itself is not acceptable to the common mind, common psychology. See. But behind that, there is something deeper that man does not understand. Therefore, the double terms are there. Out of the darkness, we still grow to light. Well, the summary of the statement is here. Death is our road to immortality. Now, I don't know whether from what is already narrated so far in the entire episode here, that narration could admit this conclusion of Ashwapati. Death is our road to immortality. It is not warranted from what has been described. Why is he talking of death, our road to immortality? Suddenly. What has been described so far does not warrant this particular statement, you see. It does not warrant. Pardon me?
How does he know death is important?
Yeah. But he is now leaping forward. Ashwapati is jumping 100 miles at once, you see, ahead. Because he is a yogi. He has seen a shadow float and stupendous light. He has seen something of that. And it is in that context he sees something very deep, something ominous. Although Narad has not spoken so far about death at all in his speech, but he is jumping now. He is, with his yogic knowledge of things, he is in that sense quite well placed to make this statement. Death is our road to immortality. Yes, if there is a death, even that is a welcome death. And it is through that death we shall have immortality, deathlessness. It is. Now, in the context of the narrative, this is understood. Death is our road to immortality. In the entire episode which has come so far, we can therefore understand why he is seeking that. But from a purely spiritual metaphysics, from the point of view of spiritual metaphysics, death is our road to immortality. If I take the sentence out of the entire context, it is loaded with enormous meaning. By itself, death is our road to immortality can stand. Without that context, it is not immortality. But this sentence by itself has enormous knowledge packed in it. Now, this is a recurrent theme in Savitri, and Savitri also says at one place that until now, life only was my pursuit, but I have really understood the meaning of life with the help of death. Life alone is what I had recognized. I think we have seen that chapter, that section earlier. Yeah, alone was there. Death is the one who helps you to grow. Death is a kind of a blessing in that sense. Is a mechanism to make things grow, to make things progress, take forward. Without death, we would have been static. We would have remained as they are, foolish, stupid, ignorant, miserable, whatever you want to call them, you see. Would have remained that. But it is because of death that. So this is a very paradoxical statement also, that death leads to immortality. And then he says, cry woe, the world's lust voices wail, yet conquers the eternal good at last. Yes, we might say, oh miserable, how sad, how pitiful this whole creation, this whole world, this whole life of ours. We might be saying all the while, but the eternal will, the eternal good doesn't care about your cry, because it has to conquer all that thing and move forward. Yet conquers the eternal good at last. We may blame this miserable life, but finally it is the good which will really establish itself in this creation. Now this cry woe is again a phrase which is reminiscent of what I have been telling you. Sri Aurobindo has used in Savitri in number of places phrases from Pilgrim's Progress, John Bunyan's Pilgrim's Progress. This is akin to that, cry woe, cry woe. Now, the phrase here is, I think, let me see. Yeah. See, the character in Pilgrim's Progress, Christian, he is one who is making progress, moving from phase to phase of life in his pursuit of the divine city, or whatever you call it, you see, the city of God. He is preaching that. And he is meeting all kinds of obstacles, all kinds of difficulties he is facing here. On one occasion, while he is on his pursuit, he is misled by adverse forces. The vital elements are there and they can easily mislead you. So he is misled. And he says then, woe is me, woe is me, I am undone. because of these evil forces, I am undone. I cannot really make progress. And then later on, of course, he get the angelic support, guidance, and he is put on the right path, you see. But this is a phrase, where woe is me, for I am undone. Cry woe, the world's lost voices wail, yet conquers the eternal good at last. So, in other words, he says that although I do see a heavy shadow floating above the name of Satyavan, it is meant for some eternal good. That heavy shadow is meant for some eternal good. It is in the waiting, and it is that shadow which is going to lead you to immortality. To immortality. Death is a road to immortality, yet conquers eternal good at last. In other words, although Ashwapati has an idea now of what is going to happen, but he does not know the exact details. He sees in a general sense that there is something ominous, something calamitous, something unhappy involved in the union of Satyavan and Savitri. And what is exactly involved in that, of that he has no knowledge. The details are not known to him. The general impression is there of that kind, but the working details, yes, this is going to happen, and therefore I will do this, I will do this, I will do this. That thing he doesn't have, that knowledge. That knowledge will come from Narad, from Narad. Cry woe, the world's lost voices quail, yet conquers the eternal good at last. So, well, this is not really addressed to Savitri, this statement. What was addressed to Savitri was this: well hast thou done. I approve the choice. And to some extent, if this is all, is not required. The rest of his statement is addressed to people that are around. Narad, to his wife, and of course to Savitri in the palace hall. You see. They are kind of talking openly about the events. You see. Death is our road to immortality, all that thing. Then might the sage have spoken. But the king in haste broke out and stayed the dangerous word. He has a definite perception that Narad is going to speak the dangerous word. He is going to speak the dangerous word. And he says, please, 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 keep quiet. Don't utter it. Hold it back. You see. Then might the sage have spoken. But the king in haste broke out and stayed the dangerous word. He has already seen the whole thing, that induction. And he addresses to Narad, O singer of ultimate ecstasy, O singer of ultimate ecstasy, the last happiness, the finest happiness, you are the singer of that joy or that happiness. He is addressing him, O singer of ultimate ecstasy. Now, this is something very significant, very perceptive also. He is addressing singer, of course, because he is singer of, he has been singing and he is a singer of all that thing. But he says of ultimate ecstasy. Now, this ultimate is a very crucial word here. Here, Ultimate is the best kind of ecstasy, unsurpassable ecstasy. You are the singer of unsurpassable ecstasy. That is what it would mean, ultimate. In the normal context, it would mean the unsurpassable ecstasy. Absolutely, absolute ecstasy, you see. Nothing beyond that. That is what the ultimate ecstasy would mean. But here, it also means you are talking about the ecstasy which will come ultimately. In the meanwhile, we may have to suffer, we may have to face difficulties, problems, and that kind of a thing. Yes, we'll have to go through the whole process, and ultimately the ecstasy might come. So that ultimate has that double sense here, you see, the unsurpassable ecstasy and the ecstasy which will eventually be realized. It also means eventually which will be realized. Now, whether Ashwati is meaning the ecstasy which is eventually realized or the ultimate ecstasy, I think we can make a choice between the two. I would say he is talking contextually, Ashwati. And therefore, he already says death is, etc., that thing is, etc. So, ultimately, the good is there bound to be. So, eventually, it will be all happiness and all lived forever in happiness. That is how the story ends, you see. The children's story ends like that, you see. Ultimate ecstasy. So I would rather put it in that sense. Although he is also the singer of the final ecstasy or the ultimate ecstasy, the absolute ecstasy, you see. Lend not a dangerous vision to the blind. Now this is again grammatically is very beautiful phrase. Dangerous vision to blind. Yes, we are all blind. We don't know what is stored for us tomorrow. We have no knowledge of it. We can't see that thing. In other words, Narad is able to see what is going to happen tomorrow. He has that vision. He is not blind. We are blind as human creatures. And therefore, to us, do not give that dangerous vision. Dangerous because we don't know what is really involved in that. And dangerous it can be in the sense that if you are not capable of understanding the power which is there behind the events, then it can become calamitous. If you are foretold about something which is going to be bad, you may immediately collapse. You may immediately collapse, you see. If you are foretold, if somebody is told, look, you fellow, tomorrow you are going to die. You see, the fellow, what will do? He will collapse, you see. You see, like that. Dangerous vision to the blind means blind means here in the sense that you are not prepared to accept the implications of what you are going to tell in that sense. Because by native light thou hast seen clear. By native light thou hast seen clear. Ashwapati sees only the shadow floating and chased by a stupendous light. But what the details are there behind it, of that he has no idea. But Narad, by his very position, being up there by that light, he immediately sees what is happening, what is going to happen, what had happened. In other words, thou hast seen clear, you have Trikala Drishti, the vision of all the three times, what is going to happen, what had happened. You have the vision of the Trikala, of the three divisions of time, the past, the present, the future, and you have seen it clearly. You have that thing. I don't have that thing. Therefore, I am blind. I am blind from that point of view. I don't have Trikala Drishti. Therefore, I am blind. And if I don't have that Trikala Drishti, what is the use of giving that dangerous vision to me? Because by native lie right, thou hast seen clear. Impose not on the mortal's tremulous breast the dire ordeal the foreknowledge brings. Demand not now the Godhead in our acts. Impose not on the mortal's breast the dire ordeal of the foreknowledge. The ordeal of the foreknowledge is to be given only to whom who can stand up to that, who has that capacity to accept the foreknowledge of doom of tomorrow. It is not meant for ordinary people. It is a tremendous, as the mother says, it is a tremendous act of grace that the future is kept sealed from us. It is an act of grace that it is kept hidden from us, because we would not have been able to respond to it. We had not psychologically, spiritually prepared ourselves for that kind of thing. So that foreknowledge to the mortal could be very dangerous. Demand not now the Godhead in our acts. Here are not happy peaks of heaven names roam. He is now describing the nature of this creation here. We don't have here those wonderlands, dreamlands, where we can move easily. Are not happy peaks, the heaven names roam, or Kailash, or Vaikuntha's starry stair. Kailash, that is the heaven of Shiva. Vaikuntha, that is the heaven of Vishnu. Vishnu's paradise, Shiva's Kailash. Now, these spellings, Kailash and Vaikuntha, these are the early spellings of Shivandu. Now we say K-A-I-L-A-S-H, Kailash, and Vaikuntha, V-A-I-K-A-N-T-H-A, starry stair. Now, he used some of these spellings. See, in fact, even earlier drafts of Savitri, he used to write Savitri as S-A-V-I-T-H-R-I, Savitri, T-H-R-I, Jumat Sena, Satyavan, S-U-T-H-A-V-A-N, Satyavan, Savitri. Now, he says that gives you a kind of a softness to the utterance. For the English ear, Vaikuntha, Kailash, they look harsh. They sound harsh. But Vaikuntha, Kailash, you see, I mean, he is giving you kind of a rounded description of that. And to remove that harshness of the Sanskrit names, words, he uses this. That is why I used to say Savitri, to make it a little soft. Abrupt jackhills only the mighty climb are here, where few dare even think to rise. If few dare even think to rise. Now, he is of course saying that we are living in a harsh world and it is difficult to climb these mountains here. We get wounded, we stumble and fall constantly. But it also says that few can dare to rise. Possibly in that few is also included Savitri. She is also a part of that few. Few dare even think to rise. Far voices call down from the desert rocks. Chill, slippery, precipitous are the paths. He is telling it to Narad, who knows all these things already. But yeah, too hard the gods are with man's fragile race. Yeah, that is the nature of man. Ours is a fragile race. What are we made of? We have no stuff at all. Very brittle, fragile. Just Tap it little, it cracks and breaks. In the large haven they dwell exempt from fate. This is what I was telling you just now. Gods in the large haven they dwell exempt from fate. In heaven, fate is not operative according to Ashwapati, according to the Indian tradition. Fate does not affect the gods. Therefore, they are immune, they are unaffected by the action of fate, which is not true in the case of the Greek gods. The Greek gods are also subject to Ananki, to fate. That is the contrast. The gods are subject to Ananki, to fate. The Indian gods are exempt from fate. Pardon me? Yeah, yeah. And they forget the wounded feet of man, his limb that faint beneath the whips of grief, his heart that hears the tread of time and death. The future's road is hid from mortal sight. Yeah, well, this is the act of grace. The future's road is hid from mortal sight. He moves towards a veiled and secret face. Yes, through ignorance, he is moving to the secret place. To light one step in front is all his hope. Yes, what is going to happen tomorrow? What kind of dinner I am going to get tonight? That is all I am interested in, not beyond that. You see. To light one step in front is all his hope. And only for little strength he asks to meet the riddle of his shrouded fate. His fate is covered. He knows that, but he is not in a position to understand the full implication of that shroud which is there around his fate. Because man's is a fragile race. It's a fragile race. So little knowledge is enough for us. Let us live with that. If you have to suffer, we'll suffer slowly, slowly, slowly like that, you see. To light one step in front is all his hope, and only for a little strength to meet the riddle of his shrouded fate. Awaited by a vague and half-seen force, aware of danger to his uncertain hours, he guards his flickering yearnings from her breath, fate. He feels not when the dreadful fingers close around him with a grasp none can elude. Now, this is the condition of the fragile race of man. So, you please understand what we are before you want to say anything. You understand, appreciate our plight, and then speak something wise. Otherwise, you keep shut. See? Then he says, if thou canst lose her grip, then only speak. Her fate. Fate is feminine. If thou canst lose, if you can really make it lose, then only speak. Now, this is an invitation to Narad. Mr. Narad, you have the vision of all the three times. You know what is going to happen tomorrow. We are blind creatures. We are in the grip of fate. That is our plight. But if you are in a position to loosen that grip, then only speak. Otherwise, you better not speak anything at all. Let us suffer silently in a blind way. So this is an admonition, this is a kind of advice to Narad. And if thou canst lose her grip, then only speak. Later on, we will see that Narad is going to speak. He is going to tell what is going to happen, the calamitous event. In other words, when he is going to speak that, he is going to speak with the full power of unloosening, the grip of fate. When he is going to speak, he will speak to unloosen the grip of fate. In other words, Narad is being told that we are a fragile race. We may not be able to bear the impact of your word. We are not prepared for that. But if you think that there is a possibility in us to bear the impact of that fate, then please come out and say. In other words, he is also indicating to Narad indirectly that yes, you can speak because Savitri will be in a position to absorb the impact of that foreknowledge. She will be able to absorb the impact of that foreknowledge. She will be able to do that thing. If thou canst lose her grip, then only speak. Perhaps from the iron snare there is escape. Our mind perhaps deceives us with its words and gives. In fact, the most crucial statement is here. And give the name of doom to our choice. Perhaps the blindness of our will is fate. That is the definition of Narad, of Ashwapati in the context of the situation. What is fate? What is fate? Fate is the blindness of our will. There is a definition in the context here. Fate is the blindness of our will. But the crucial thing is this way: if thou canst lose her grip, then only speak. In fact, Narad is going to tighten the grip. He will rather tighten the grip instead of loosening it. He is going to tighten it. Tighten it in order to loosen it. He will tighten the grip in order to loosen it. First thing will be really tightening. The vice will be really pressed hard. So that in that process it will get loosened by itself. So what Narad is going to do is he is first going to tighten the grip. Perhaps the blindness of will is fate. He said, and Narad answered not the king. Well, what can the poor fellow say? Yeah, if you can loosen the grip, don't only speak, otherwise you keep quiet, you see. He's keeping quiet. See the art of storytelling, how the grip is being loosened. The poet, as a storyteller, is somebody who is absolutely superb here, you see, remarkable. And then comes the queen.
Yeah, but actually he is now defining Narad's purpose. Why is this wise man coming here right now? He doesn't allow him to speak.
Yeah, he's not allowed to speak. He's kept
So
quiet.
actually he is...
Yeah. Actually, as a storyteller, this is something very superb. The way in which the entire tension is built up around the whole thing, you see. In the early draft of Savitri, in the mid 1920s, maybe 1927 or so, when Shivandu wrote a part of this description here, there was no queen present in the draft. It was a conversation entirely between Narad and Ashwapati. The queen was not present there. Shivandu introduced the character queen as the character later, not in the beginning, in order to develop the story. She was not there in the earlier draft. In fact, in the Mahabharata story, this character does not appear at all. Queen does not appear anywhere at all. In the palace, Narad is there, Ashwapati is there, and they are exchanging ideas and thoughts or whatever it is, and Savitri is standing there, only three. Ashwapati is there, Narad is there, and Savitri is there. That's all. The queen is not there at all anywhere in the Mahabharata story. So the earlier draft in that sense more or less followed the original version of Savitri in the 20s. But later on he introduced this particular character, and then you can see the way the tension is built and how marvelous the whole story has become as a result of that. So, whenas the blindness of her will is fate, he said, and Narad answered not the king.